Featherstone Rovers, under their new coach David Ward, have won only once in 8 matches. Hull, under their new coaching regime of Russ Walker and Phil Windley, have yet to win. So it could be a big night for someone this evening. It better had be, because points are vital if either of these two sides are to push themselves away from the relegation issue. Let's now take a look at how these two sides line up. Beginning with the fullbacks, Warren Wilson is under coach David Ward for the 4th time, and Richard Gay missed 12 games earlier, but is back now for Hull.
Team spirit's very good at the moment. Everybody's buzzing, and you know, it's a challenge. I mean, I've never ever been sat at the bottom of First Division 2 before. It's a new experience for me and for most of the players, but we don't like to be there, and the team spirit will most probably bring us through.
So you're expecting a turnaround in fortunes in '95 for Hull?
Definitely, yes, definitely. We've really got to work hard, you know, and hopefully we can turn things around, yeah. I'm looking for a big new year.
Wings, Ikram Butt hasn't missed a game so far this season. Leroy Mackenzie for Hull, who've been without former Great Britain international Paul Eastwood all season. French international Freddie Bonquet and Paul Sterling, one of the most improved wingers in the game. Centre Carl Gibson, a former international with 11 caps to his name, and Gary Nolan, Hull's joint leading scorer. Matt Calland arrived as cover for Andy Currier, but he's played every game now for David Ward, and it's the junior Kiwi tourist Tavita Vaikona. Standoff Brendan Tudor made his international debut for New Zealand at number 6, and someone who might just do the same in time is Shane Endicott, whose dad Frank just happens to be the new Kiwi coach. Tudor, Featherstone's hard man, he believes that Hull are in a false position.
They've got some great players in it over there, and a new coach like we have at the moment, so they're in the same boat as us.
Expecting a big battle then on Friday?
Oh, of course, well, as always is against Hull, and we owe them a couple of favours, I think, and hopefully we'll pull it off on Friday.
I think we're expecting you to put on a good show for Sky as well. I think Featherstone are about due for a big game on Sky, aren't they?
Oh, we are. Every time you fellas come to see us, we keep on losing all the time. I don't know if it's a good or bad omen for us, but, you know, we hopefully put on a good one.
And is the confidence still high in the dressing room that you can avoid relegation?
I think the confidence is there. I think the confidence builds by winning, and, you know, at the start of the new year, and if we get 2 points on Friday night, confidence is going to be build on it, you know, and that's what we need at the moment.
Scrum half Mark Aston, he broke club records for Sheffield, and he's up against an outstanding youngster in Mark Hewitt. Up front, Steve Malloy is set for quite a battle with the Hull skipper Steve McNamara, looking for a change in fortunes at the Boulevard.
In the last 3 games we've played reasonably well, especially against Halifax and Leeds. Unfortunately we came up with nothing, which at the end of the day is what counts. You know, we have been playing well. We've got a lot of good positive things what we've been working on now, and hopefully come Friday we'll turn that into the 2 points.
Change of coach, has that made a difference?
Yeah, we've you know, the side's playing with a lot more direction now. You know, we're playing probably with more confidence, and at least know where we're meant to be playing, where we're meant to be working for at certain parts of the field, and that seems to be doing the job.
It's Leo Casey and Gary Rose, who had 4 years at Featherstone before moving to Leeds and then on to Humberside. Hooker Graham Southernwood for his first big league appearance since November, and Rob Nolan, his first match at hooker ever. Second rows, Danny Dive lines up against his former club for the first time, while Chico Jackson is a man who always gives 100%. Dive aiming for a long-awaited win.
We need a win. I think Hull needs a win also, but for us it's very important to win. We need to get a couple of wins under our belts to get away from the relegation zone and try slowly to move back up the table.
You've been playing well, but the results haven't been coming. What's the problem?
I think we've got a bit of a lack of discipline. We've had a few injuries and a few other problems within the club, but I think it's more discipline than anything else on the field. We can score the tries. Our defence can be very good, but we've got to maintain our discipline on the field for 80 minutes.
Gary H. Price is clear to play after being sent off on Boxing Day. John Sharp is a Featherstone lad in Hull's colours. Loose forward Neil Roebuck missed a play anywhere at Featherstone, and under-21 international Jez Cassidy. And the coaches, men who have come into their jobs to stave off the threat of relegation. David Ward's at Featherstone, and it's the coaching duo of Russ Walker and Phil Windley at Hull. Ward back in the big league, but with a poor record so far, he remains optimistic.
The atmosphere is good in the dressing room. I've no complaints. I've even no complaints with the effort that they're putting into games. I do believe that we are playing well enough to win matches. In the previous games, we've been beaten by 4 points, 2 points, 6 points. So we're always there, but we just got to get the other side of the line to win a game.
You left a winning team and you're with the side that can't win at the moment. No regrets about coming here?
No regrets whatsoever. It's the things in life that you don't do that you regret, and anybody who has the opportunity of going back to the big league, whether you're a player, if you're a player in the second division, then you want to play in the first division, and rightly so as a coach or an administrator. If you get the opportunity, you've got to take it, and hopefully you're successful in it.
And confident about Friday?
Yes, we are. You know, obviously, we haven't been playing consistently week in, week out, what with the weather and the fixture list, that's disrupted us. But everybody's fit, there'll be no excuses, and we're ready for it.
Featherstone Rovers were promoted as champions in 1993. They face a winter now trying to avoid the drop. And Hull, 9th last season, stand bottom of the table, 2 points behind Workington and Featherstone. This is a vital match for both these clubs. And Richard Gay, the Hull fullback, a try on day one against Warrington. It's his only score of the season so far. And Featherstone all lining up for the photographer for pictures with the mascot in the club programme later on in the season. And Mark Aston leads the Featherstone Rovers side onto the field in a change strip tonight because the referee John Connolly believed that the colours would clash, so he ordered Featherstone and Mark Aston to change into their away strip. Mark Aston, scrum half, sent off against Leeds, and yet really to find his true form. He takes his place though as the captain in this Featherstone side of Wilson, Butt, Gibson, Calland, Bonke, Tuta and Aston. And up front it's Malloy, Southernwood, Casey, Dive, Gary H. Price and Roebuck. On the bench it's Gary S. Price and Joe Nadioli, who's on loan here from Huddersfield, coaches David Ward. Bright blue and white for Hull. And a big game for this team, coached now by Russ Walker and Phil Windley. Their backs are Gay, McKenzie, Nolan, Vicona, Sterling, Endicott and Hewitt. And up front, McNamara, the captain, Rob Nolan at hooker for the very first time, Rose, Jackson, Sharp and Cassidy. And on the bench they've got Dean Busby and Mark Jones making his first senior appearance of the season, the Welsh international. So here we are with the top try scorers for Featherstone. Freddie Bonke leading the way with 6, and then Price, Dive, Calland and Gibson. And for Hull, the top try scorers, Nolan and Sterling, with Hewitt, Endicott, Jackson and company bringing up the rear. John Connolly is tonight's referee. Top try scorers showing really the problems that these two sides have got in the Stonesborough Championship. They have had problems in the recent past of scoring points, but I'm sure, Steve-O, that tonight Featherstone and Hull, well, Featherstone know if they win they go 4 points clear of Hull at the bottom, and if Hull can manage a win they're right back and amongst the relegation chase.
Yes, it's a 4-pointer situation. It's a 4-pointer situation. There's a swinging arm, really was a big one as well. Seen straight away by John Connolly. Second rower John Sharp didn't miss there on that occasion. Well, they mean business. I was just about to say that it's a 4-pointer for both of them, really. Trouble is, when they're in such a relegation situation, they play cautious football. But that's not cautious, is it?
Nice little break from Leo Casey. And Featherstone on the attack here. It's the second rower, Gary H. Price, and he is deposited to the ground by 3 Hull defenders. These are vital moments here for both sides. A good driving run, the support arrives from the full-back, and it was a good job that Richard Gay pulled his opposite number Wilson down. Featherstone though still roll forward, but straight into the arms in the end of Mark Hewitt.
Well, what a wasted opportunity. They got the ball away well, but Mark Hewitt was the man on the spot. But what a beautiful pass from the prop forward, Steve Molloy, to set that up. But Mark Hewitt, the youngster, came to the rescue. What a great opening, though, from Featherstone. They're finding a lot of gaps early.
Well, every time we come here to Post Office Road, we mention the fact that the pitch here slopes as we watch now from left to right, and it's Featherstone who have got the advantage of that slope. Meanwhile, they have been pinned for the penalty. Dive holding down in the tackle, not allowing the man to get to his feet.
He's all over the man there. There was nothing that the referee, John Connolly, could have done about it. Has to penalise him. All these players well aware of the new interpretations. They're not new rules. The rules exactly the same.
The drive from Chico Jackson for Hull. He gets to 10 metres inside the Featherstone Rovers half of the field. There's Hewitt, and here's John Sharp, Featherstone lad. In fact, the man in possession with the football there, Sharp, he lives just 5 minutes away from Post Office Road here at Featherstone. Now McNamara is captain. Pass to nobody. Neither was that particularly, but it's well picked up. This is Vicona running straight.
Well, a prop forward, Steve McNamara, then expected someone coming short, but there was just no one there.
This is Hewitt, the little dab forward, and it's brought chaos there for the Featherstone Rovers defence, and they've been pulled back for the knock-on by Connolly.
But good work by Matt Callan there. Dragged the ball back under the attention of Gary Nolan. It was a beautiful little kick through there from young Hewitt.
And this is going to be Hull's head and feed at this scrum. So pressure here on Featherstone from the bottom club Hull. That's Endicott. That's good running. Great running from the full-back Richard Gay. He keeps the ball alive. Endicott manages to stoop down and pick it up. He's a tall lad for a stand-off half. Hewitt, the dummy half. He finds the prop forward Gary Rose in the headgear. Desperate moments here now for Featherstone up the other end. The last thing either of these sides wants to do is concede an early try. Sharp with that little drive from the good ball from McNamara. That's nice inventive play. Jackson driving to the line and he's over, but can he get the ball down? No.
Beautiful play from the hooker Rob Nolan. Went one way and switched the ball back.
Diagonal ball across, and a good job there. The Bonke is there. It was Nolan again, and Richard Gay was hunting the chance, and it was Ikram Butt actually who managed to defuse that danger.
Nice kick through from Nolan, and then the winger Ikram Butt really was on the go. Richard Gay realising that the kick was on, but that was a beautiful reverse pass from Rob Nolan. Super stuff.
And the pressure will continue here for Hull, because this is the other Nolan. Gary Nolan in the centre. And Featherstone penalised for interference at the play of the ball again. Tuta with a furrowed brow.
And there you can see the swinging arm, right arm of Tuta. Playing in the standoff position tonight. Normally a loose forward. Likes to mix it, likes to get involved in the action, both in attack and defence. Giving away a silly penalty there.
On his way to Perth Western Reds, end of the season, Brendan Tuta. Playing standoff half tonight, a position he's played for his country. First time in 2.5 years, though, with number 6 on his back for Tuta. Nolan again is the dummy half. That's another bad little diagonal run from Gary Rose once again. He wants to get on with it quickly, trying to fool referee John Connolly. Here's Jackson again, certainly using this diagonal runner to some good use here now. Hull, that's a good long ball, and the play is kept alive, and Richard Gay once again hunting, and he knows once more he's so close to the first try.
Well, it all came about from some good woodwork by Rob Nolan again. Richard Gay just not getting hold of the ball there. What a great pass from Cassidy. Just went too low at the moment, but the chance was on. It was a set move. They really have missed Richard Gay in the full-back position. I think this is only his 5th game back from injury.
Yes, it is. He's been out for a long, long time. So many of the Hull stars have been missing for long periods this season. Another of them, Mark Jones, is on the bench. That ball comes free. It wasn't stolen, so Hull get the benefit of the doubt.
Well, you could see that it was interfered with there. Rob Nolan, the hooker, got the left arm in.
Here's his brother Gary. Gets through one, but can't get through Southernwood. And Aston was there to close him down also. McNamara with the straight drive, turning in the tackle as Leo Casey took him low down. Nobody coming in. Again, it's Rob Nolan, dummy half. He finds John Sharp, and Sharp then gives it once more to Chico Jackson. There's Hewitt and Endicott, and Richard Gay once more supporting the attack. Gary Nolan back to Gay. He keeps the movement going to Mark Hewitt. This is quite fluid from Hull. A good start for them, a bright opening 7 minutes. Sharp dabs it a bit too hard. Knew he was going uphill, but he volleyed it out rather than grubbing it along the line.
Oh, far too hard there. He'll be disappointed. You can see, raise the eyes to the Evans. Not happy with it. And the let-off there for Featherstone. They really weren't on the rack there, and they're miles offside. Led by Vicona. With plenty to choose from. Gary Rose, you see from the high shot there, about 5 or 6 in front of the referee, John Connolly. Well, full credit to John Connolly. He really is keeping an eye on this. He wants an open game.
Featherstone will attack now with Malloy, but they've spilled possession. And the referee has pulled them back for the knock-on. It actually came off the knee.
Little doubt about it. The Frenchman, Frederic Bonquet, off the knee. You could see Steve Malloy appealing to the referee, but to no avail. It definitely should have been play on that occasion.
Here's Richard Gay for Hull. They've not been out of the First Division since they were promoted in 1979. That year, by the way, they won all 26 league games in Division 2 that season. Tutor was high then, and he's been caught again by referee Connolly.
Well, that's the second occasion, the swinging arm right over the top of the shoulder. Crunch time. Well, he's a lucky boy. Second occasion.
Hull find touch with the penalty. Nolan restarts it. Is captain McNamara. That was high too from Gary H. Price, number 12. Hewitt to Rose. And 5 penalties in the opening 9 minutes here. 3 of them to Hull. Endicott supporting the attack.
Good defence from Featherstone out wide. They're finding it very difficult, Hull. They're sweeping across. They get in the link. But I'm afraid the centres are being gobbled up quite easy.
Just Cassidy, loose forward, outstanding 20-year-old under 21 international. Here's McNamara. McNamara taking something to bring him down.
Got a lot of strength as a young prop, hasn't he? He was looking to try to get the ball away for his support players.
Little dink over the top from Mark Hewitt. And again, it just bounces off this very firm turf here at Post Office Road. Despite the fact that we've had plenty of rain this week, it's quite solid underfoot. It's a cold night.
Well, Hull are doing the right things. Their approach work is excellent, but I'm afraid the last kick on the last 2 occasions has gone astray. We saw Sharp far too strong, and on that occasion, Hewitt far too much beef. They've got to sort that out.
And it's now a penalty against Hull. Rob Nolan penalised for having a second snap at the ankles of Mark Aston.
Little doubt. The rule states that once you've made the tackle, you have to release and roll away clear. I must say that I've been impressed with Rob Nolan. His first time in the hooking roll looked pretty snappy around the dummy half position.
Southernwood, the dummy half, finds Aston for Featherstone. The runner then was Malloy. And Hull enjoying by far the better of things in the opening 10 minutes in terms of possession. It stays at 0-0, and that's pat a cake both sides.
That'll be offside. A penalty to Hull. He knows it as well. See the ball come off the full-back, Warren Wilson. And the Australian Frenchman, Danny Dive, had nothing to do. Can't hold a board meeting when it drops into your hands like that. But what a relief now for Hull.
And that's Leroy Mackenzie for Hull on that far side. Hewitt gives it to Sharp, and Sharp is halted on the halfway line. Casey, Southernwood. in there quickly in the tackle. Chico Jackson again. He's seen plenty of it already this evening.
Typical example there of the Featherstone defence moving quickly out wide, forcing Hull down the corridor, down the middle.
Man being pulled back without possession of the football. John Connolly eagle-eyed.
Well, that really is stupid play when they're not interfering, just holding a man back. That's all it was, just a tug of the shirt. Early in the tackle count, Hull are going to pay the price.
John Connolly making his presence known on the field. 8 penalties now in the opening 12 minutes. Let's hope that the message gets through to the players and it's tidied up. Otherwise there'll be a lot of whistle from referee John Connolly, because that is the way the officials have decided that the game should go now. That's a lovely ball from Aston, but it was forward. Carl Gibson thought he was in for the 4. The referee Connolly was right on the spot and immediately blew for the forward pass.
You could just see that Aston delayed it that split second, and it was enough for that man Carl Gibson to take that one stride too many. The idea was there. The defence had gone away from Gibson. It was a clear run to the line.
Tension in the air here at Featherstone Rovers tonight. Neither side wants to give an inch. Hull desperate for their first win under the new coaching duo of Windley and Walker. And Featherstone want to give David Ward his first win in 7. And Featherstone dropping the ball a bit, 6-1, the handling errors, sharp with this run. He's taken it up well all night. As it used to be in the old days, he was playing against some of his mates here at Featherstone whenever he came over with Hull. Now he reckons all his friends are behind the posts. Not too many local boys in this Featherstone Rovers side. Hewitt trying to conjure something up for Hull. That's not a bad little kick. It just runs out of space in the field of play.
And I'm not so sure that the winger took it out with him. Lovely kick from Hewitt. I think you'll find that that ball was definitely kicked through. Warren Wilson was there on hand. And I think you'll find that number 5, the Frenchman Banquet, had to put it through, yes.
Yes, Hull have the feed. They have possession. That's a good little ball, and so is that. This is Richard Gay again, motoring, and he brings Paul Sterling into it, and Sterling arrows his way towards the post. They keep the ball alive well to Hull. This is Vicona, and there's great pressure here now on Featherstone Rovers. Gary Rose from dummy half, the prop forward, bustling his way through. The ball out wide was very, very ambitious. Mark Aston got to it, but he did knock it forward first.
Well, the long ball there out wide from Gary Rose. Aston way out there on the wing. Just couldn't handle it. More pressure.
So here come Hull again. And once more in the shape of Gay, who has a big space ahead of him, Vicona. And Vicona, oh, that's great support play from Richard Gay. That's a tremendous try from Gay. Vicona actually, if he'd stretched his arm out, might have scored himself. But as it is, Gay, who has been looking really enthusiastic all night, backed up brilliantly and touches down. His second of the season, a vital 4 for Hull.
The Featherstone sliding defence at the scrum was caught there. They expected it tight. Look at them there. There's 3 players taking one man, and Gibson was caught out. Vicona went for it. The shout on the inside. He did the right thing. Superb play by Richard Gay. But I'm afraid Featherstone, you'll see 3 players come right into him. And look how the long ball out wide. Gibson was short. It was enough for the Vicona to get on the outside. Beautiful pass inside there for Gay. That is a well-worked try.
Well, my word, how Hull have missed Richard Gay. Try on day 1 against Warrington, his only score before then. And now the opportunity for Hull to add the extras. And the flags tell you that he's been successful. Mark Hewitt with the extra 2. And Featherstone 0, Hull 6.
Look at the 3 Featherstone defenders that all circled there, far too tight. You've got to spread out wide than that. Gibson was caught. Vicona had the speed and the strength. inside pass. Superb stuff.
Richard Gay started that move off and finished it. So 16.5 minutes gone, and Hull with the perfect start. And they will run that ball back with Jez Cassidy, and Southernwood was the hooker there to bring him down. Good start for Hull, the bottom club, 2 points adrift of the rest. It really is developing into quite a dogfight. Any one of the bottom 8 could join Hull at the bottom of the table if results go against them. And I must say, Steve-O, in the opening 17 minutes here, Hull are not playing like a team that's destined for the second division.
No, they're working it well. They're bringing the ball back on the inside. They're running at the angles on the first man and then bringing someone late. They're trailing them very well.
Hewitt, high kick, intelligent kick. Good job that Warren Wilson was there to take control of that situation. Freddie Bankay never really looked like getting near it.
Took it well, didn't he, Wilson? Exceptional there, and offside again. Interference at the play of the ball. Not too happy about it. The big prop forward, Gary Rose, also involved, but he was on the blind side, just out of your picture. Also see that the youngster, Mark Hewitt, appeared not to stand square. Plenty for the referee, John Connolly, to penalise there.
Aston, the scrum half for Featherstone, trying to rally his troops here. But great tackling on Danny Dive. Dive being forced back. And the referee, trying hard to make himself heard, said that the tackle was completed.
Not only that, at that play the ball, Hull was about 2 yards back.
Yes, it's a ragged defensive line, and creeping up beyond John Connolly. He's marching them back a good 10. That's a good run, almost from Roebuck, nearly through. There's Tuta. Tuta just with the outside of the boot, and it's running down the hill. He's after it too, the Kiwi. That's good defensive play, though, from the hooker, Rob Nolan, who has shown up well here.
Well done there by Nolan. He'll be in the sweeping position in the hook and roll. Oh, that's good defence. And under that lot, is it Leroy Mackenzie, I think?
It is. They both got stuck in then, didn't they? There were about half a dozen pushing Mackenzie one way and 4 or 5 pushing him the other. And Hull trapped at the moment in their own 10-metre zone. And there was a little slap of the face there on Gary Nolan. Referee John Connolly says play on, and what's more, something... There was a boot got in there too. I think the Featherstone crowd were appealing for a knock-on.
This is the last they've got caught Hull without the kick. They lost their way. Oh, well, dearie me. Dive has a go at Sharp. Now this could be interesting. Says, get away, I don't want to give the ball. So he says, well, I'll give you one then if you don't give me the ball. Talk about taking your bat and ball home. Well, maybe not the bat. It's mine. No, it isn't.
Referee John Connolly was a little late in signalling the 5th tackle. Maybe that confused Hull. But they were certainly trapped 20 metres from their own line. And Dive then, well, it could be he's on his way to the sin bin.
Well, there's little doubt in my mind that John Sharp realised it was the last tackle. He shaped a kick and then just got swamped. Dive leading the charge. I think just a few little words and calm it down, boys.
It's on the last tackle, signals John Connolly. It's the turnover. Hull eventually surrender the ball to Danny Dive. And so Featherstone now will look for an equalising try here and another couple of points to level matters up as Casey drives it in. Good run from Casey.
This is where Mark Aston has to work the magic with Tuta.
There's Tuta. The second row there is Gary Price. Oh, that's lovely play, and Tuta's come up with it. The call was from Tuta to Price. Price delayed the pass and just fed it at the right moment. And Tuta stand off for the first time in 2.5 years.
They used Aston on the open side as a foil. It was Tuta that got it, and the second rower, H. Price. Look at that. That really is good upper body strength to keep the ball alive. The defence caught napping, really. They should have gone low on this man here, which is Price. They both went high, gave him the opportunity to switch the ball back inside. Well backed up by Brendan Tuta. Aston was screaming for it on the open side, blindside to Tuta. But look at that, you've got to go low. They should have gone one high, one low. They didn't. They paid the price. Good support play. Notice how they go, grabbing a by. That is not the best of defences from Shane Endicott.
But great play from Brendan Tuta, New Zealand international. And Mark Aston now with the conversion attempt that would level the scores here at Post Office Road. Aston, just 22 goals this season. Club record scorer for Sheffield. And a lovely kick from Aston, now very much of Featherstone Rovers. 6 points apiece. We're all level.
See how they slide the defence across the gaps there. Running into the gap. They both have to grasp, and that's enough to send this man over. Well, the first 2 tries have been caught with the defence a little bit slow to sliding. It's all right having a sliding defence, providing you work it, but I'm afraid on both occasions, both tries have been scored by failure to do that.
Here's Danny Dive. And Featherstone suddenly have the tails up. Matt Calland with that driving run. Joined from Rochdale in September 1993. Of course, Featherstone as well. We mentioned the fact that Hull have had their injury problems. So too have Featherstone. They're rolling forward now with Southernwood. The support is there from Dive. Dive gets the ball out to Banquet, and that's the French 1-2. Dive with a driving run, and Banquet, the man who Steve Martin called Freddie the Frenchman. But I think Connolly has brought it back. John Connolly has said that was a forward pass, and the try will not stand.
It's deemed that the pass from Dive to the Frenchman, Banquet, was forward. Jeez, it was 50-50 in my book, but good positioning by John Connolly. It deserved a try. What a great break from the hooker, Graham Southernwood.
Sensational drive from Southernwood, carried on by Dive, finished by Bonke.
Let's see
this forward.
Let's see it again. No, that's play on. Never forward there. Well, you can imagine what the crowd is like here at the Partisan Sons in Featherstone. They weren't too happy with that.
And I'm sure that Dive and Martin Pearson, the Featherstone Rovers injured standoff half, isn't too happy about it either. He's watched it over the shoulder of Phil Arthur.
Martin's just seen that replay, not happy with that decision.
No, not at all. Looking at the replay, it was a good pass, actually.
And after a really shaky start, and Rovers are just starting to put their game together as well, aren't they? That's going to stop them in their tracks.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, last 6 tackles we've done really well there, and we've come back, scored a perfectly good try, and it's been disallowed for forward pass.
Nerves are obviously playing a part in this one. I should imagine both sides are pretty keyed up.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, both sides need the points. For us, I think we need the 4 points from this game, and as I say, both teams need the points.
Not an easy one for you to watch.
Not really, no. Obviously, I'd like to be playing again, but that's not to be, and it's quite nerve-wracking and frustrating watching the game.
Well, you can see the swinging arm there of Rob Nolan, the hooker, right into the jaw of the 5'8" Brendan Tuta. He didn't miss him. I suspect that's a bit of a square-up. It was pretty heavy in the opening exchanges. And I know Rob Nolan got one. Maybe they're all tit for tat now and get on with the game of football.
Well, as you say, maybe it's all square, but I'm just wondering, Steve-O, how vital at the end of the season might that decision be from John Connolly to wipe out that try from Bonke?
Yes, it could be a big talking point after this game. But there you saw Featherstone, Leo Casey, under no pressure really to get that ball away. Threw it away blind. Now that's okay if you've only got a few minutes remaining in the game and you're desperate, but not when you're on level terms halfway through the first half. They have to respect possession.
McNamara over the halfway line. The support arrives there from Cassidy. And talking of possession, Featherstone getting themselves back into this match, but it still belongs to Hull in that particular statistic. But Steve-O, matches like this are not won on computers.
No, it's all about putting points on the board, isn't it? This Featherstone crowd there. There's a lot of niggling going on there. We saw on an occasion where Hewitt put that ball through. I thought he was held back slightly. A lot of the players are talking to each other. They're geeing each other up. And they could boil over this.
There's a man that you don't want to gee up. Brendan Tudor grits his teeth and runs it straight every time he gets it. Good play. Suddenly, Featherstone are starting to buzz a little bit. That's lovely stuff, and just the pass was a little low for Gibson, but a good job that Tudor was there to bring Paul Stirling down. But it was good, quick hands by Featherstone.
It was, until it got to the prop forward, Steve Malloy. He tried to get it away in an impossible situation. They've got to calm things down.
Hush descends over this ground as Hewitt tries to find some gap in that Rovers defence. He was hauled down by Roebuck. That's a nice little reverse pass into the arms of Mackenzie from Endicott. And Mackenzie eventually takes the tackle from Price. Here comes McNamara again, 10 metres short of the line. It's the last tackle here for Hull. Will they fancy the drop goal? They do. And Hewitt gets the one. Mark Hewitt gives Hull the lead again.
Good thinking by the youngster. Little halfback pops it over for the 1 point.
Just crept over, didn't it?
Doesn't matter, it still counts. That is very good thinking from a youngster. I saw him come through the ranks in the academy. He's a talent, and he knows the way to the line. He won't be overawed by being in the big league. He loves his game of rugby league, this kid.
So we're live at Post Office Road, and Hull have taken a 1 point lead, 7 points to 6. 28.5 minutes gone. Featherstone restart again. The kick-off by Mark Aston. Leroy Mackenzie will run this ball out. 25-year-old from the Coventry and Moseley Rugby Union club. That's Gary Nolan, the centre, who takes that tackle midway inside his own half of the field. Brother Rob tried to find a little bit of space behind Southernwood. Nothing doing on that occasion. Can McNamara find anything now? Big collision between McNamara and Casey. Hewitt drills one into the top corner. Wilson will have to run this ball out. That won't run dead.
The good kick, though, pushed him into his in-goal area. It's always a great kick when you can turn the opposition full-back around. The chase was good.
Bonke, the man who thought he'd got the 4-pointer not long ago for Rovers. And referee John Connolly penalising Anthony Jackson.
Well, little doubt about it. He's hanging on to him, and then he rolls all over the top.
And referee Connolly here wants a word with Steve McNamara, by the way. He's telling the Hull skipper that as soon as the tackle's made, they must get out of the way. Jackson penalised then, and he thought he was hard done by.
Well, the rules are quite explicit, and the referees are taking it to the letter. Not only did he have a word with McNamara, he's passed on that information to the Featherstone skipper Mark Aston too.
Rob Nolan, the Hull hooker, is just limping his way back into this defensive line as Hull defend this attack led by Casey. It's Roebuck who takes it on now. Here's Dive. Dive turning in the tackle, looking for support. No one there. Takes the challenge. Down he goes, 20 metres away.
Such a strong runner, isn't he, the Frenchman?
Ball back inside, Malloy.
Up to yet, we have not seen Mark Aston explode on the attack yet.
That was Aston with the pass. That's Callum with the pass out wide. Another one has been disallowed before the pass. And it's another one for Bonke. He cannot believe it.
Well, I think that was forward. I've got to give the referee, John Connolly, the right shout for that one. It took an age, didn't it, for Matt Callan to get the ball away. But the Frenchman, Bonquet, in for the second. Try disallowed. Well, the crowd in that corner that have been plenty to do and say to John Connolly, the referee. But he was right on that occasion.
Well, 2 tries disallowed, 1 questionable and 1 rightly so by John Connolly. Oh, and there's a ball lost there, but it was stolen.
No doubt about it. Danny Devey, right arm into the tackle, pulled it away, exit the football, give a penalty. Simple. There it is. Thank you. Endicott, the standoff from Hull, having the ball taken away from him. You can't hide on a big pitch like that. I'm sorry, Mr. Devey.
John Sharp. 32 minutes gone. We're inside the last 8 minutes then, up to half-time. Gary Rose now, minus the headgear, keeps the ball alive to his captain McNamara. Oh, and they're trying to force the pass. They got away with that, though. Richard Gay, for me, he knocked it on, but referee Connolly says play on. Gave him benefit of the doubt. Hewitt.
I thought he caught it. Yeah, he did. Excellent play by Richard Gay there. Could have done with him at Sydney Cricket Ground.
Someone's in the bin. Neil Roebuck's on his way.
Tries to take his head off here. Uses the elbow. Gives him the facial. Mr. Roebuck, 10 minutes. Thank you very much indeed. Well, that really is frustration coming into this Featherstone side. 2 tries disallowed. That's not the way to respond to it. They're just losing their way slightly, Featherstone, allowing Hull back into this game when really, at a point, it looked as though they were taking control.
Mackenzie, dumped to the ground by Casey. It's a big ask now of this Featherstone Rovers defence to stand firm up to and beyond half-time. It's Hewitt. The diagonal runner was missed out. It was Gary Nolan, and Hewitt took them on himself. Richard Gay, the try-scorer, is in the dummy half. Richard Gay will not be put down, but now he will by 3. Rob Nolan, dummy half. Hooker, first time. Endicott, long ball, took a chance. McNamara did not have a prayer. Gibson was closing him down. That had a big red cross on it.
Beautiful play there by Carl Gibson. The experience showing there. The inexperience showing on the face of McNamara. He looked at the man coming at him.
And McNamara's on his way to the bin. Referee Connolly's pinned him for offside, and he says it's a professional foul.
Never made any attempt to come back to 10. Well, these guys really are giving it the big shot, aren't they? They've had prior warning.
Well, it's level pegging now on the number of men on the field. And what's more, here's another offside decision going against Hull.
Now, will they take the 2 points? I think Mark Aston will say, we'll take the 2. It's within range.
Tell you what, Steve, we're talking to Derek Fox about the fitness required now in this match. Referee John Connolly saying that McNamara didn't retreat. And immediately he gets Hull again for the same offence. It could be that Hull just starting to run out of steam because of the pace of this match.
Well, there's little doubt that it's a lot faster these days. No chance to have a rest to play the ball. Any interference, you're penalised, so you've got to get back.
Aston then to give Featherstone a 1-point lead as we approach half-time. Vital kick this. He just misses it. Just scraped the post the wrong side. So it stays at 7-6. Remember, both sides now down to 12 men. They've got 1 each in the sin bin. Roebuck of Featherstone, as Aston tries to rally his troops for a big effort up to half-time. And McNamara, so Hull are at the moment without a captain out in the field. McNamara in the bin. Gibson straightens up well, all down by Gary Rose. Southernwood, good reverse ball to Malloy, forcing the issue all the time, Steve Malloy. Gibson that time managed to retain possession. Southernwood, Tutor with gaps ahead of him, and he's bundled into touch. That's good Hull defence.
Good play there by the centre, Vicona. Had all the strength to just take him out. Tutor really was charging for the line, but the strength there of the Kiwi.
Yes, Tavita Vicona, one of 3 of the Canterbury Cardinals to come to Hull from New Zealand. Endicott is another. And Maya David, who is currently out of the Hull side, is the 3rd. Oh, he's lost that ball. Paul Sterling lost it, but it was stolen from him. It wasn't stolen, he was having his shirt pulled as he tried to get up and play the ball.
Devane Gibson got involved with it. You can see Gibson trying to wrench the ball free, and he does. When are these players going to realise? Well, he's running a tightrope. There's that man there, Carl Gibson.
Now, is that not a professional foul, Steve-O? More so than not retreating the 10 yards.
I agree with you, Eddie. I don't have a whistle.
Some would say thank you for agreeing with me, and some would say thank goodness you've not got a whistle. We're approaching half-time. Midway inside the Hull half, and the Featherstone half for Hull with Mark Hewitt. He's quite a talent, isn't he? But he was treated to a roughhouse tackle then by Leo Casey. And he just looked at the big prop forward. Endicott trying to dab it through. It bounces back off a Featherstone Rovers leg. And that's not 6 to go. The ball played the man, not the other way round. So it's last tackle here. Endicott dabs it to the corner. And Wilson is able to allow it to run touching goal. Well, I thought it might be tight. And tight it is tonight. As Bottom Club Hull are ahead by 7 points to 6 against Featherstone. 2 points ahead of them in the league ladder. Featherstone with 2 tries disallowed for forward passes. Both sides with a man in the sin bin. And Featherstone running downhill with Malloy, with Bonke. Will he be denied this time? He will not be denied. Ikram Butt, the try scorer. Malloy with the run. Ikram Butt was the man in support. And Butt, well, they thought they had him, but Ikram Butt just scrambled his way over.
Super run there from the prop forward, Steve Malloy. Poor tackling there. I'm afraid Vicona made a real meal of it. But superb support play by Ikram Butt. The momentum gets through. Mackenzie can't stop him. Right over the whitewash. But look at the dummy there, and I'm afraid Vicona made a real meal of that. And the big prop forward, Malloy, sends the winger away. Look at the determination. Nice try from Mackenzie. But the upper arm went over the ball. That is allowed. It's a try. He had the downward pressure as he went over the line, and that is sufficient.
So Ikram Butt with the 4 and Mark Aston with the extra 2. And Featherstone Rovers have given themselves just a little bit of breathing space. 12-7. Featherstone up to half-time.
You'll see Vicona has come out of the one line of defence, and when you do that, you've got to make sure you take your man. That was a woeful effort. Malloy gleefully just glides past. Wonderful positioning there from Ikram Butt. He read that to perfection. That was a very, very good try indeed.
The man who joined this club 4 years ago from Leeds, then coached by David Ward, Ikram Butt. And he's back under David Ward's charge here now at Post Office Road. And that, a try really that Featherstone have deserved, because they've come back from surrendering the early lead. And they really have dug deep after having 2 tries disallowed from this fellow Bonke. And he's off on a run this time. That was good thinking. There's the half-time siren. That's it. And Ikram Butt's try has given Featherstone some breathing space up to half-time. They lead here by 12 points to 7 now. Freddie Bonke had 2 efforts disallowed, and he's shown up well the little French winger, after Richard Gay has given the Bottom Club Hull a 6-0 lead with his try on a quarter of an hour. But credit Featherstone, they've dug deep in their reserves and they have a 12-7 advantage at the break, courtesy of Ikram Butt. The Bottom Club out for the second half, but in terms of points, well, it belonged to Featherstone Rovers, didn't it? Remember, both sides will resume with 12 men. They have men in the sin bin. As Featherstone come out to warm applause from their supporters here. And I noticed that Hull have made a change. Dean Busby, under 21 international, has come on, and he has replaced Leroy Mackenzie. Busby seems to produce good things when he's on Sky. England cap against Wales, you may remember, in 1992. And John Connolly just having a chat to all concerned. And he prefers to restart this vital match at the bottom of the Stones Bidder Championship. We're live from Post Office Road. Featherstone 12, Hull 7. Hull, Bottom Club, Featherstone 2 points above them, and they would do themselves a power of good if they could hang on to this situation here this evening. But Hull have got other ideas, and Chico Jackson, we mentioned before the match started, he's a 100%er, and he really does keep things going from start to finish, does the Hull second row man. There's Busby, first touch for him.
A youngster that they expected so much at the Boulevard came along at the same time as Steve McNamara, and that is a good kick. Apply the pressure straight away. Intelligent thinking there from young Hewitt. Kicked into open space. Apply the pressure and perhaps hope that Featherstone will make the bad mistake.
Andy Roebuck just preparing to come back out of the sin bin. Not long behind him will be the Hull captain McNamara, but it's Roebuck who'll be out first to get Featherstone back to full complement. As Tuta plays that ball, and Aston sends Calland away on this run, tracked by, it appeared then, the entire Hull defence. No one was moving up in support. Aston now to try and weave some magic in centre field. Jimmy Price has been doing that all evening, hasn't he? Standing in the tackle, looking for the supporting runners. On that occasion, nobody there, and this is something that Malloy has been doing all night too. And he keeps the movement going, a bit fortunate perhaps, but here now is Dive. Dive turns in the tackle. He releases the pass, it went backwards. Keep on going, says referee Connolly. Casey out to Calland, and Calland will score! Hull say double movement, but John Connolly says try. Matt Calland with the try, he's on 6, and Featherstone, they've taken a grip on this match at the start of the second half.
Fully deserved. It was Matt Calland that took the ball out from his own quarter line, made about 30 yards, and he finishes off with a beautiful try. Well done from the centre. This is only the 4th rush from the Featherstone camp, and they've made so much ground. The ball flipped back there from Malloy. Play on, it did go backwards. They really put themselves out there. Danny Dive always wanting to switch in the tackle. The impact gets the ball clear. That's play on too. And they did well here. Long ball out wide. Throws the dummy, goes over the top. Nothing that Richard Gay could do. The impact. Well, the elbows did hit the ground. That has often been classified as a double movement. Not on this occasion, though, by the referee, John Connolly.
Calland with the try, and Mark Aston just jogging back a moment ago. His conversion attempt, and it just sailed wide of the posts. So it's not all over for Hull, but they have a 9-point deficit to make up. It's 16 Featherstone, 7 Hull, and McNamara returns for Hull, and Roebuck has returned for Featherstone. So we're back to 13 men on each side. But what a great start for the home team. right at the start of this second period. Just exactly what their coach David Ward would have wanted, I'm sure.
Well, it was a typical example of a team really rolling their sleeves up and getting involved with it. As I said, it was a beautiful run from Matt Callan, way deep within his own quarter. And 3 more play the balls. They plump it down for 4 points.
Dive against his former teammates, of course. Oh, he released that ball. Well, it looked to me like Dive had released it. And I think the referee has called that absolutely right.
I think he's done it absolutely wrong. Little doubt in my mind. Gary Nolan, to be fair, though, to the referee, Gary Nolan's arm, you see, come down over the top, dislodges the football, gets away with it. To be fair to Connolly, he does not have the replay. Maybe he should.
I won't develop that further. This is Dean Busby, and the support is there from Cassidy. And it's desperate scrambling defence from Leo Casey that hauls Cassidy down. Can Hull reply with the captain? It wasn't their captain, it was their centre, Tavita Vaikona, who was just held up. This is Hewitt. There's the captain, number 8, Steve McNamara, just being pushed out of the way at dummy half. And Endicott. Nolan. Again, Nolan looking for support, nobody there. And he's lost it. Referee's whistle. Knock on.
Just a little knock on there in the tackle. You can see him losing the possession of the football. Well, a chance gone begging there. It's a good break from the substitute, Dean Busby. They're not finished yet, Hull, by any means.
Mark Aston, the dummy half, gets the ball away. This is Matt Callan, scorer of that try. Must have given them such heart. This is Ikram Butt, who got one the other side of half-time. But really would have pepped them up, Featherstone, who, of course, playing under new coach David Ward, who arrived in October. And Tuta manages to keep his feet, just gets the pass out. The referee, I think, will pull them back for the knock-on. Not from him, but from him. The winger Sterling.
Well, Sterling did the right thing, put himself in between the 2 players, but just couldn't grab the football. Amazing play for Brendan Tuta, and once again it was a beautiful layoff ball from Steve Malloy. On his way down to the ground, Malloy sent Tuta, who did likewise.
Here's Tuta, and there's Warren Wilson. Vaikona took him downstairs, and then Gibson was able to sidestep the big Kiwi centre, but he couldn't get past the reception committee that waited for him just beyond that. Keep the movement going well. Here's Ikram Butt again. He can't bring him down. He ducked under a few tackles then, didn't he? And Gary Price loses the football.
Well, Price looks at the winger, Ikram Butt, and says to him, "What on earth were you doing? You mesmerised me."
So Hull have head and feet at the scrum. Endicott with nowhere to go. Can Hewitt find something here? To Busby now. Flattered to the ground. The runner was sharp. We could hear the call from up here. Oh, mile forward. Mile forward from Sharp into the arms of Gary Nolan. No doubts about that.
An ironic cheer from the crowd. A big smile from John Connolly, who'd seen it. Little doubt about it. You could see quite clearly on the replay.
Here's Tuta. 3 to greet him. Tuta hangs on.
The thing now for Featherstone in this commanding lead is not to force the play miles offside. 4 to choose from referee John Connolly. Leading the way was Jess Cassidy.
He's just holding his jaw. He got a bit of a bang in the tackle on Tuta. Somebody's in the bin. McNamara again. No, it's not McNamara, it's Busby. Dean Busby's only been on the field 8 minutes. He will now take 10 minutes break. Must have been adjudged as maybe back-chatting or not getting back the 10 yards, and therefore, in John Connolly's view, a professional foul to try and slow up the play. However, Mark Aston fancies another shot at goal here. 2 from 4, a 50% success rate. Just bang in front. 33 metres out. It's got the legs, but it hasn't got the correct direction. Aston really hasn't set them on fire with his goal kicking here, as he did at Sheffield in his career with the Eagles.
Rather surprising ploy that Mark Aston is using in tonight's game. Normally fits into the first receiver from the play of the ball, but for some unknown reason he's working second and third receiver out wide. Don't know the reasoning behind that. I'm not the coach. David Ward is sending out the messages, but it certainly has kept him very quiet. We haven't seen the Mark Aston of old, have we?
Certainly haven't. Southernwood, the dummy half. Casey was there, so too was Roebuck. Roebuck gives it now to Bonquet. David Ward on the verge here of his second victory in charge of Featherstone Rovers in the big league. Game in October, just 1 win from 8 since. Roebuck with space and with support from Calland, and Calland through the gap. The support there from Southernwood, and Southernwood should have scored. Maybe they will, no they won't. Chance goes begging for Rovers.
Well, dearie me, what on earth was the hooker thinking of there? For all the world, Graham Southernwood was on his way, spun away to try to keep the ball alive. There's little doubt about it that Callan should have taken that. Well, chances are going begging. If any team is wanting to give Hull a chance, it's tonight.
John Sharp, 9 points, remains the gap then. 10 minutes, almost 11 minutes, second half gone. McNamara, oh, there's a bit of a blue behind there. Calland and Sharp trading punches.
And they're still throwing them in.
Well, referee John Connolly notice, he's standing back, letting it finish. That's the directive from Greg McCallum. You don't dive in anymore.
Would you want to?
Well, they had been until he arrived.
I wouldn't want to jump in there. Deary me. Was in the back play, there you see it. Bit of George Foreman throwing. Plenty of action, not many connecting. Still not connecting. Well, the judges won't have much to do about that one. Well, it had been simmering.
And referee Connolly's gone to his pocket. And Matt Callan's in the sin bin.
Well, surely Sharp will join him.
Yes, he does. Sharp goes as well. It's that time again on the big league to get the calculators out.
Well, there he goes. Swing, push, head down, hope for the best. That's a new edict, of course, that you can, for punching, send a man to the sin bin.
Well, that's the 5th man, or the 5th men in the sin bin. And Hull now down to 11. And Featherstone have got 12 men. Just like Boxing Day revisited this. 5 men in the sin bin then, 5 men there tonight. 11 men on one side, 12 on another. Gary Rose takes that to himself because no one was standing in front.
They'll have to be careful, Featherstone, here, that they just don't lose the plot. Hull could bounce back.
Well, it's the 11 men of Hull who are in possession with Endicott. And the penalty count creeping up all the time. We've had 18 and Featherstone have had 11. Good bouncing ball that. And they were all after it, were Hull, led by Gary Nolan and Mark Hewitt, but...
It's a super kick from Hewitt. His kicks have been pretty good there. Nikram Butt perhaps taken without possession of the football. Pretty hard to see there, though, and Nolan come charging through. Either way, Hull will regain possession.
Ashton with the drop kick from underneath his own posts. And Hull run it back in the shape of Jez Cassidy. Here's Gary Rose. Rob Nolan was the dummy half. Steve McNamara.
They lost their way there. Yeah, Steve McNamara was looking for another runner. He wasn't available.
Endicott to Gay. Gay taking it on his own and then feeding Sterling. Sterling cutting in field. Support arrives from Hewitt. Round the corner to McNamara. Good quick hands to Jackson. Oh, great stuff that from Hull. And what a try for Cassidy. Gary Nolan somehow kept that ball alive. The number 3 for Hull. And it was a tremendous move from Hull. Jez Cassidy with the 4. Terrific try from Cassidy. Only 20, under 21 international. And that's just what Hull wanted.
Oh, quick pair of hands. Talk about swinging it across the back line. Could see how Nolan got on the inside. Richard Gay through the dummy. And then Sterling set off. He did very well here to keep the ball alive. Round the corner from Hewitt. Then the ball out wide. Didn't he do well there, Nolan? Gary Nolan, superb pass out. And the loose forward. Jez Cassidy finishes it off, but Sterling did so well. Hewitt then on to McNamara. And then you see Nolan. Beautiful hands there. The handoff from Cassidy.
Important conversion here from Hewitt, and it just drifts wide of the post. There's been quite a few of those conversions and penalties tonight that have just scraped the woodwork. It's 16-11 though for Featherstone. Quite a contest here at Post Office Road. Mark Hewitt pointing. Hull are rejigging, and Mark Jones has come on in place of Gary Nolan, the man whose breathtaking pass created that try. And big Mark Jones, the Welshman, coming on for his first appearance of the season. There's Mark Jones. I'm sure that Clive Griffiths, the Welsh team coach, will be glad to see him on. And Freddie Bonke, by the looks of things, is in some trouble. Let's pick up all the news about that from Touchline and Bill.
Yeah, it's a big night for Mark Jones, back in action after a long wait. He's been battling to overcome that injury, and there he is driving the ball up, his first touch of the season. He's come on in place of Gary Nolan, who's got an ankle injury. It's obviously catching because Freddie Banke has had to come off with an ankle injury as well. He's been replaced by Joe Nadioli, who had an interesting start to the evening when he found his boots had been nicked, and there was a frantic search to find a big enough pair of boots for him. Eventually they did. And while we're on the subject of injuries, Leroy McKenzie, who went off at half-time, has sprung a shoulder. That's the Hull winger, and it looks as though he'll play no further part tonight.
Wouldn't think so. Warren Wilson, though, most certainly will, the Featherstone Rovers full-back. Gibson was the dummy half. Here's it from Butt. Steps away from that challenge from McNamara, who's still after him, McNamara, but he's set something to bring down it from Butt.
Well, Featherstone still in the driving seat, and this is where surely Mark Aston will start taking control.
Here's Aston now. The ball to Tuta, and Tuta saw a gap. He went through it. Lovely reverse pass to Malloy, and scrambling defence from Hull to keep him out. But what a beautiful ball that was. Here's Dive, keeping it alive. There's Nadioli, making a meal of it. The ball went backwards though, and Roebuck able to pop it into the arms of Tuta, who goes for it long out wide. It's all very, very scrappy, but a little bit of space now for Gibson. Sterling's after him, and Sterling pulls him down.
Well recovered there by Sterling. Gibson thought he was away.
Kick across the face. Who wants it? Featherstone do with Dive, and now with Tuta, and Nadioli! He's only been on 2 minutes, and Nadioli does the dance of the dying swan almost as he touches down. Nadiole with the 4. They were stretched out wide, Hull. Still players in the sin bin. But Nadiole, his 3rd try of the season, but his 1st for Featherstone Rovers. He's here on loan from Huddersfield.
It all came from this wonderful pass and dummy there. Tutor threw the dummy. I'm afraid Rob Nolan took it. Look at that reverse pass there to the prop forward, Steve Malloy. He's had a big game also. And it was from this position. Long ball out wide. The kick, you take the options. They stood around, it bounced off. You can see Dive waiting to pick up the pieces, and he does. Inside, Tutor does the right thing. And the substitute, Joe Nadiole. Oh, over we go, 4 points. Not the best kick there, but it came out okay for them. Southernwood would be happy with that anyway, but good play by Dive. It's all about creating the overlap. Not so sure that the coach, David Ward, will be happy with that scoring technique. Either way, he'll be happy for the 4 points.
Mark Aston misses with another attempt, but Featherstone ahead 20-11. And Nadiole, well, he scored it with a flourish, didn't he? An extravagant dive for the line. But extravagant or not, they're all worth 4 points. And that could be priceless, because Hull looked like they were coming back. Joe Nadiole on loan, 5 years at Huddersfield. Dean Busby, by the way, has returned. There he is, number 14 for Hull. So I think I'm right now in saying it's 12 men on each side.
Well, they needed that, did Featherstone. They were looking a little bit lethargic. Hull slowly and surely we're getting back into this game.
The ball went backwards, play on, says the referee. Ikram Butt running round and round in the centre of the field, finding Malloy. Here's Southernwood, and Butt again. Aston thought about putting the pass out wide, went on his own instead, and still going Aston. Now the pass out wide to Dive. Here's Nadiole again. He keeps the movement going to Warren Wilson. Bouncing off the challenger. Support arrives from Roebuck. Roebuck out wide to Dive, and Hull force him into touch.
Enterprising play from Featherstone. Dive finishes over the touchline. Good support play, keeping the ball alive. That builds the confidence. Takes a lot out of the Hull defence. The scrambling defence came good on that occasion, but it does tire you out.
And Matt Callan and John Sharp, after their little bout of fisticuffs 10 minutes or so ago, about to return to the fray. And that's the way that things have shaped up in the final quarter in terms of try scoring for these two sides. Featherstone finished strongly, don't they? 39% of their tries scored in this section of the game. So, problems here for Hull. They're behind on the scoreboard, but in possession here now with Vaikona.
Nice step there from the centre, Vaikona. Came back on the inside. Shown some nice touches, but I'm afraid his defence is a little bit suspect.
Here's Vaikona again. And lost the ball. He was thinking about the pass to Jones, and it just came out of his grasp.
He was in two minds. The impact there, lost the ball. Right elbow hits the ground. Loses control. Head and feet to the Featherstone side, I'm afraid.
Both sides now back to 13 men. Members of the Sin Bin Brigade back on the field. Calland and Sharp, they've returned.
This is where the professionalism and the experience of Mark Aston has to take into its play. Control things down, not do anything stupid.
Two lovely steps from Gibson. He's still got it, hasn't he, Carl Gibson? 31, 11 caps during his career for Great Britain. Aston on halfway. Tutor now. Short ball. Wilson. Tutor's there to pick up the pieces. It bounced backwards off his ankles. He takes the tackle from McNamara. The Hull captain has a rueful little look at referee Connolly, and it's back to 6.
He thought that
possession for Featherstone, by the way.
He thought that Tutor had knocked on then, even though he was facing his own sticks. Featherstone quite content now to use the forwards, drive it through, get over that advantage line. That's exactly what they're doing. They're doing the right technique now. Control football.
Roebuck to Aston. Dive again, always a willing worker down this left-hand touchline. Forward pass into the arms of Aston. Shake of the head.
Hasn't been his night, has it? Well, just a half a yard forward. Overstepped the mark, did Mark Aston. Still got a smile on his face, Danny Dive. He feels pretty confident. It's a winning bonus.
We've got news of substitutes now from Bill.
And Featherstone making another change, and on comes Gary S. Price, and they're having to rejig because Warren Wilson has just limped off with looks like another ankle injury. That's the third tonight. And I think Ikram Butt has had to drop back to full back, so they're rejigging. Gary S. Price, who's normally used in the pack, has presumably gone there, and somebody will have to drop back into the centres now.
The ice pack ready for Warren Wilson on the bench. Forward pass against Hull this time. Mark Jones thought he was away.
Well, he just delayed it a little bit too long there, did the youngster Hewitt. The Welshman careering through the would-be tacklers. He thought he was away. It looks like Dive's gone into the centres. He has.
Well, a quarter of an hour to go, 9 points the difference. And here's Gibson. Oh, it's a lovely step again. Twice in the space of a couple of minutes, Gibson really has caught the eye. A good job for Hull, but the defender caught his ankle. Dive, that pass was good. Nadioli, that wasn't so bad either. It's Price. And scrambling defence once more from Hull to keep them out. Southernwood, Aston. Aston through a gap. No one on his inside. The only man on his inside was in the blue and white of Hull.
Super tackle, though, from Richard Gay. The impact of the tackle, you could see that Aston lost the ball as he went to ground. Tried to get it away there, bounced up by Kona, the man that came to the rescue. It's the first time, really, that we've seen Mark Aston take on the defence.
Steve-O, a big 14 minutes on the way here for both these sides, particularly Hull, who are again behind the 8 ball in this match. They have great confidence that they can get out of trouble. Half the season to go. Gay with a run like this. He thought about releasing the ball in the pass. Instead, he got up off the floor because the tackle wasn't completed, and he's got the penalty. Gibson knocked the ball out of his hands.
Nice run from Richard Gay. It's always hard, isn't it? Gibson saying, oh, it's gone.
Oh, he's in
professional
the
foul.
Well, he must have been listening to us at half-time, John Connolly.
This is a run from Gay. Not the best attempt at tackles, was it? Such a talent as well. Did right. Hold on to it. He wasn't held down. It was only the feet that went over the top. Then Gibson came into it, and a judge to have knocked it away. Professional foul. Take your 10.
Well, of course, 2 points no good to Hull. Gibson in the bin. They've decided to run this penalty, and there's a high one. High one on Chico Jackson from Gary Price, and the referee wants the clock held up.
Well, that was interesting. Hull took the tap with a man offside. They were lucky to get away with that. That really was a high one, wasn't it, from Price? And there you see, John Sharp actually takes a tap with one of his players in front. They're lucky to get away with that.
Now the big man, Mark Jones. Hull need a try here, and what a finish we would be in for then. Nail-biting stuff here at Post Office Road. McNamara releases the pass. Endicott out wide, and that's Nolan, Rob Nolan, who's come on for Gary Rose. Again, Hull looking for the chance, and they drop the ball, and Southernwood says thank goodness for that.
Good run there from the hooker. I'm afraid it wasn't the best effort, was it? Heavy traffic there.
Dive to Butt back to Price, and the referee says play on.
It was a fair tackle.
The ball bounced out of Price, Price holding his neck a little ruefully here. Oh, that was high.
Well, I don't know. I think the shoulder made the contact. See the shoulder going in. I think you find that is a fair tackle.
Well, Connolly ruled so.
Yep. Anthony Jackson didn't miss. But the impact was with the shoulder. The arm was swinging, but impact was made with the shoulder first.
Endicott to nobody. Good job that Richard Gay was there. Play on, says the referee, and Richard Gay surrenders possession. Callan picks it up. Panic football from Hull.
I can't believe that on the first tackle. What on earth are they thinking about? Must be a nightmare for their two coaches, Phil Windley and Russ Walker, when they do things like that. Doesn't help their cause.
Well, it certainly doesn't. Devey trying to keep the movement going for Featherstone. Calland, and it was a good challenge by Sterling, it had to be. Calland is able to take that to himself. Well, I'm sure that the nerve ends are pretty frayed at the moment on both the coaches' benches. David Ward, I know, is screaming at his players to just go through and finish the set of 6. That's exactly what they've done here. The ball bounces free, and it's lucky for Hull that Vicona was there to clear up the danger.
Nowhere near it was Richard Gay on that occasion. Vicona, the centre, used his strength to force his way into the field of play. It was good.
10 of Hull's remaining matches are against clubs in the bottom half of the table. This is one of them. They're all like cup ties, according to Russ Walker and Phil Windley. They've got the enthusiasm, they say. They've got the commitment. It's do or die now. And it most certainly is. Hull Kingston Rovers in Division 2. The last thing they want on Humberside, once the hotbed of British Rugby League, is for 2 teams in the second division. They want 2 teams in the big league.
Clever kick there from the youngster Mark Hewitt. He realised that the full-back at that occasion was the second rower, Danny Devey. Knew he wouldn't have much speed to get out of the danger zone.
9 points, 10 minutes. Featherstone, the points important to them as well, of course. Let us not forget that. They were third bottom before tonight, just 2 clear of Hull. It would put daylight between them and the bottom club if they could hang on here, and it looks like they're hanging on now, although Malloy did not play that ball. Aston drills one up the hill and finds touch, just to eke out a few more seconds.
The experience there showing Mark Aston. Let's get out of here. Punch it into the corner. With a 9-point lead, he knows that Hull have to score twice. Come away with the vital 2 points in this relegation battle.
2 sides who are out on their feet. The speed of modern-day rugby league, particularly in the big league, takes its toll. And it's whoever now finishes the stronger will take home the spoils. Rob Nolan in possession for Hull. It's now with John Sharp.
Hull quite happy to use the big forwards, close and tight to the play the ball situation.
Mark Jones, fresh pair of legs, first appearance of the season. Ligament damage to that knee, heavily strapped. But at least he's back and out on the field. That's where Hull want him. Here's Sterling. Paul Sterling. There's a little gap opened up for Sterling. He's got the pace. And Sterling is going to score. Terrific try from Paul Sterling. We saw him against Wigan on Sky, didn't we? Remember that night? My word, he had a big game then, and that could be the most important of his 7 tries so far this season.
What a wonderful try from the winger, Paul Sterling. This is individual brilliance at its best. In and out, in and out. Look at that, the speed. They held off him. There's no way in the world they could get close to him. No one touched a finger. Wonderful run there from the winger, Paul Sterling. In and out, the determination. Look how he gets into top gear. In and out again. He knows he's got the speed. 2 little shimmies, 4 points. Hull back in this game.
Oh, very much so. And Watch out, Featherstone, if this one goes over, we're in for a big 8 minutes. 20 points to 17. It couldn't be tighter at Post Office Road.
You can see, as soon as Sterling gets it, you can see all the heavy traffic there. Once he gets the run, he's away. Superb run. Acceleration. Bang. Top gear. In and out, in and out. That is a wonderful try. They're not done yet.
Definitely not. Paul Sterling has missed just one of the last 12. He was impressive against Wigan in October. One of the game's most improved wingers. And showing then exactly why. So 6 minutes. Plus stoppages. Hull, in the shape of John Sharp, now believe they can win it. The most important 6 minutes of the season so far for these two on the way. Hewitt ducks under the challenge. 126 tackles for Featherstone. They really are working very, very hard, the Featherstone Rovers side, to keep hold of this victory. And they've only got 12 men, and there's the kick, and one here for Nolan to chase, and it bounced over Mattioli, and here's the centre by Vicona, who will score! Vicona behind the post for Hull, and if ever a game has turned upside down in 2 minutes, this is it. Tavita Vicona, and Hull hit the front.
What a wonderful little chip over the top. Mark Hewitt, you've got to test your arm. And I'm afraid Nadioli made a real meal of that. Vicona. Beautiful stuff. Excellent. That has set this game alight. It was an awful mistake from Nadioli, but full credit to the youngster Mark Hewitt for putting the kick over. The strength of the centre, Tavita Vicona. He'll be happy. I'm singing. The whole crowd have gone berserk. The Featherstone mob, they're stunned.
Tavita Vicona then, the man from New Zealand. 1993 junior Kiwi tourist, 20 years old. And could that be one of the biggest plays in the championship this season? Hull have hit the front, and young Mark Hewitt, with this conversion attempt from bang in front of the post, gives them breathing space. Well, they've made the journey down here from Humberside, and they're dancing on the terraces. 3 points is the difference.
It's all about the kick, isn't it, and the support play, and when the chance is there. Once the mistake was made by Nadioli, the Kiwi centre gleefully accepts it. What a turnaround.
Mark Jones again for Hull. Well, 3.5 minutes to go. Jones's appearance certainly seemed to lift the spirits in the Hull camp. And 2 tries in a couple of minutes really have turned this game on its head. McNamara looked over his shoulder and he saw Gay, but there's big Mark Jones.
Not only Mark Jones, let's not take anything away from Dean Busby, the other substitute as well.
There he is.
He injected a lot when he came under the half-time break. And Featherstone really are struggling now.
Here's Mark Hewitt. Can he create something out wide again here? The ball's come free, and Vicona's in again. The try's been given, and 2 from Vicona in a minute. Cue the song from Steve-O. Tavita Vicona, 2 in the closing moments here. And is that the game up now for Featherstone?
Well, the Featherstone players may not be able to pronounce it, but I tell you what, they won't forget it. Tavita Vicona, but once again, it was a beautiful little kick through from Mark Hewitt. Full credit to the youngster, you've got to chance your arm. And the centre comes up goods again. Look at this beautiful little drubber kick there. It's causing all sorts of confusion. Well, it's all about taking your chances. Nolan, the kick through from Hewitt there. Nolan goes through, gets the kick onto it. There was little the defence could do about the centre Vicona scoring. And this Featherstone crowd are stunned.
Stunned indeed. Vicona Well, I said that could his first try be the biggest play of the season for Hull? Could that one now be? Featherstone Rovers suddenly are stirring their 7th straight defeat in the face. A match they appeared to have in their pocket. And Mark Hewitt, at the moment the gap is 7 points. This could be the winning kick. And the kick is successful. And Hull must think now that their barren spell is over.
Mark Hewitt, wonderful thinking. Kick into the corner, anything can happen, it does. Bang! Nolan takes the man out. And Vicona finishes the job. Well, they are stunned here at Post Office Road. The smile says it all, doesn't it?
18 points for Hull in 5 minutes. The biggest 5 minutes of their season. What this will do for their run-in to try and avoid relegation, only time will tell. But I was mentioning that Russ Walker and Phil Windley believe they've got commitment, they've got the do-or-die effort, and there's no doubt about it. Hull, if Featherstone dug deep in the first half, Hull have gone into one of the mines here in the Featherstone area.
What a collision there. Tuta came straight in on Sharp. Well, it's going to end the same way as it started. Sharp and Tuta had a real old ding-dong in the opening minutes.
Kick downfield from Chico Jackson.
Just shows you the importance of a good kicking game. Full credit to young Hewitt. He really has turned the tide with 2 lovely kicks. Well, they looked to have this game all sewn up, didn't they, Featherstone? It looked like the side that they should have been using the kick when they had that 9-point lead. And then all of a sudden, Mr. Hewitt enter centre stage, 2 kicks, and off we go.
Here's Tuta. Tuta through a little gap. Perhaps Featherstone aren't finished yet. Ball out wide, Nanioli. Good tackle. Great tackle by Gary Nolan. Gary S. Price, the dummy half. Dive. He's run his blood to water. Aston. Ball out wide. Gaps appearing out there. Calland brushes away from Sterling. Can't get away from McNamara. Yes, he does. Keep the movement going. They're in. Gibson. We're not finished yet. Time for stoppages. Gibson with the try. And they're going to have to take this very, very quickly, this conversion.
What wonderful play from the centre, Matt Callan, showing all the strength there. That's all about second effort. Good support there by Cal Gibson. Quick 4 points. Let's get on with it. He knows it. He knows the importance of it.
And this is an important kick from Ashton. And he kicks it. That's 6 for Hull. I was about to say it depends now what the timekeepers will add on. And the answer is they've had nothing. 26 Featherstone, 29 to Hull. Hull end their bleak run. 3 straight defeats before this match, but they've come to Featherstone and picked up a priceless 2 points. Tavita Vicona, 2 tries in as many minutes, have won this match for Hull. Mark Jones came on along with Dean Busby and transformed Hull. Mark Hewitt played his full part as well, the little scrum half, and it's shake hands all round that they will remember the name of Vicona, not only in Featherstone, but on Humberside for a long, long time to come. A thriller again on Sky.